This episode is brought to you by Meet Cute Box. Meet Cute Box creates monthly themed date night boxes. Each box is handmade with care based on your membership profile with up to 4 items plus a love-inspired date night. What I love about Meet Cute Box is that inside every box, there are unique items gathered from local businesses around the world and packed together with a new theme every month, giving you a new surprise to enjoy. Memberships start at only $29.99 per month, with each box valued up to $100. To join today, visit meetcutebox.com. That's meetcutebox.com to receive a handmade box as early as next week. Meet Cute Box, the membership crate for you and your partner.
It's just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Ladies and gents, hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Berardo Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Tony Berardo, and today is a fun episode. I say that with most of my episodes because, they are pretty fun. But today we are going to sit down with Gary Whitaker. Gary, I've known for quite some time. We've gone back and forth a lot. He's actually been on the show before. He has a master's in sports and nutrition. He's a health coach out in California, and he's been a vegan for over a decade. So, of course, we have a lot in common on that aspect. But it's always good to talk to him because, this episode in particular, we actually talk a lot about longevity of life, taking care of your body, have a better relationship with food, and a lot of other stuff. But overall, it's just a really fun educational podcast. I bet you're going to get some value out of it, even if you're not into fitness, because a lot of people that probably listen to this podcast in particular either are pretty healthy or want to be healthy, or maybe just want, some fun conversations. So today is a little bit of everything. It's fun. It's also very educational, but more importantly, I think we need to rethink how we have the relationship with food and with ourselves, meaning, are we surrounding ourselves with positive people, with healthy people? Because sometimes cutting ties with people that are unhealthy is going to help you be healthier. And it's hard to be in that mode of not having that temptation, right? Like if you have friends that just love going to the Cheesecake Factory every Friday night after work, yeah, it sounds good. And cheesecake is good. I get it. But there's no nutritional value to it. And the faster you can rethink and change your mindset on what you're putting in your body and how you're treating your body, the longer you're going to live. And the whole YOLO mentality, we just need to change. We need to change that. You look at everything that happened with the pandemic, 70% of the population is overweight, of the United States, that is. Most people that contracted and unfortunately passed away from that illness, that virus, was overweight or was out of shape. This will not be the last virus that hits us. It wasn't the first, right? But most viruses can be solved by taking care of your body, being healthier. Of course, could you get it? Yeah, naturally, just like you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. But I hate that analogy because if you do get hit by a bus tomorrow, wouldn't you want to have the strength and the ability to overcome that? And you're going to do that through having a healthier and stronger body. And that's what this is about. That's what this whole podcast is about. So I think you guys are going to kick out of it. Coach Gary, you can find him. I'll leave all his links in the description below in the episode notes. That's at Planet B Fitness. You can find Coach G there. But everyone, please help me welcome Gary Whitaker. Thanks for coming on the show, bud.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
No, man, it's my pleasure. I know we've been wanting to connect for a while, but I mainly wanted to have you on because the last few episodes in particular, especially with the health scare I had, I'm like diving super hardcore into not just health, wellness, and fitness, because that's primarily what this podcast is, but also too, yeah. I've been having a lot of experts on various different fields in the health and wellness industry. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit, especially because now things are kind of like back in the swing of things, right? Like if you went to the gym, you're now able to go to the gym more. If you wanted to eat out, you're able to eat out more. So I'm really making a point now to ramp up the health and wellness portion of my podcast because I feel like people are going to start getting into bad habits again. That what was cool about the pandemic, and there wasn't a whole lot of things that were cool, but one thing that was cool about the pandemic is it made you kind of reevaluate what you're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, you
And
got to zero in.
yeah, dude, because time became really, really crucial, right? Because you're kind of worried about, fuck, am I going to get this virus and die one day? Like, God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might have been thinking about, well, I'm spending, 12 hours at home. I can't just
Mm-hmm.
drink wine and eat fast food all day because if I can't go to my normal gym, then I won't be able to be healthy. So I don't want
Mm-hmm.
people to fall back into those habits. So I'm kind of ramping up that a little bit more
Yeah.
on my podcast. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit because I know, obviously you're running the company out in Cali and you
Mm-hmm.
eat plant based and you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you're doing with the reels too. That's looking good. Those little snippets that you're doing. You need to do more of that. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just getting more into like just putting out just different content just to be consistent. Cause I think that, it just broadcasts the message to more people. And then I'm talking about some controversial things that, have to deal with people's habits.
Yeah,
So, I think that's kind of one of those things where, I feel like sometimes you gotta rub that spot, even though people don't really want you to rub it. But,
sure.
like I recently, it's interesting that you set that up about the habits. Is I recently know about two people that just died recently. You know what I mean? Like, and they were young. They weren't no older than me, maybe by a couple years. But that's in your 40s is young to
Ooh,
pass away.
was
And
it anything? Can you talk about what it was?
yeah, I think one of them had just stage 3 cancer, and the craziest thing is I did like a couple years back, I did a consultation with this person about nutrition and stuff like that. She was looking to eat healthier and get her health back on track. And it's just unfortunate that she did pass away because she kind of kept it a secret. So it was kind of like when I found out, I was like a shock because I
Hmm.
was like, wow, she passed away.
Oh, that's wicked.
So and I think that's what kind of like I think it inspires me. It's just like if I could help save or add some more years to someone's life, you know what I mean, just by a simple piece of information.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like I post, and it's crazy because I posted it the other day. I posted something about the link between alcohol and cancer. I'll say the C word because we don't want to get, but the
You're right.
between alcohol and the C.
Yeah.
And but that's been like that study's been since like the 90s. People have known about the linkage of the two, but we never like talk about it, you know
Yeah.
and so yeah, so I think that it's really important right now for people because like we're all getting older, we're not getting younger.
Right.
And a lot of people are battling just a lot of stuff, Tone, just like with just habits. We have these habits
Yeah.
that drive us a certain way, and the one thing that we always have to do is we have to take our bad habits and create positive habits the same way we have bad habits. You know what I mean? Like I had another client of mine who she was working with me, and you know how some clients be like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. And I had just got her from the point where she could stand up off of the floor, and it's real because you don't really think that these things are things that people have to deal with, but she couldn't pick herself up off the floor, and that's something that we
Be-
take for granted as
because she was
able-bodied people.
because she was overweight.
She was weak.
Oh, just
She
weak.
ju- she just yeah, she just didn't have the upper body strength to get. She was functioning like a human, like it wasn't like she was bedridden,
Right.
but whenever she would get to the ground, she could not get herself back up with her own strength.
Wow.
And to me, I never seen that before. And so I helped her to build up her strength, and then we got it to the point where I had some parallettes,
Mm.
and we got it to the point where she can use the parallette to get herself back up, and then she started to be able to get herself back up off the floor. It was still a challenge, but I seen her body getting stronger. And then so what happened was, like I think she had some transitions with her employment and stuff like that. She
Mm.
got fired from her job or got laid off. And then it's hard to tell somebody like, hey, keep going, because the first thing that a person is thinking about is they're thinking about like cutting back and what they need to do to survive. But long story short, she ended up having some sort of heart. She had a stent put in her heart, and then her health just went like a spiral, just. And I called her because like I'll call and check up on my clients and stuff like that. And it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy, like how your life in the blink of an eye could just go. Your health could just go down. You know.
Yeah. No, and you know, what's even more unfortunate is sometimes because a lot of us, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I mean, for us, it's probably been a little bit different. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have always thought about health and wellness, but for some reason, maybe it's because, like, let's say if you make 30, 40, 50 grand a year, we've been conditioned somehow. I don't know if it was because of school or our parents or whatever, but we've been conditioned that you need X, Y, Z, right? Like you need a house, you need a wife or a husband. You need these things before you're 30. So
Right.
it's stressful. There's a lot going on. And the next thing you know, you're 30 and you're trying to do whatever you can to get these things that we're told we need. So our health kind of gets on the back burner.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know about you, but my parents definitely, because being Italian, they were not like, okay, Tony, so when you get older, make sure you focus on your health and you save money. Okay. That was not a thing.
Yeah.
Not saying my parents weren't responsible and didn't teach them their things, they did. But there's a lot of other stuff that they taught me, and that just kind of wasn't in the forefront. So sometimes when, like yourself, you're coaching these people and you're telling them, it's like talking Chinese to somebody, you know, they're listening to you, but they're not translating what's happening, and they don't understand that it is very important. And, you know, if you need to cut out Starbucks, that's what you got to do. You know, you got to use that $8 a day or whatever you're spending towards your health. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with Coach G, but maybe it's a seminar online. Maybe it's, you know, walking every day. You need to figure out some type of way to supplement that and make health your top priority. I did a podcast on this the other day where there's really only two things that should be a must have aside from family, friends, and a roof above your head is your mental and your physical health.
Yeah.
That's it. So whatever that challenge is that you're having in your head, you need to focus on that, whether that's meditation, whether it's reading more, whether it's cutting your device off and you're not going on TikTok all the time. And also laterally to that, your physical health. You know, you got to either walk every day. I've been preaching a lot, just walk after a meal. You know,
walking is important.
Yeah, dude. Like if you don't work out, no worries. But if you could just walk after every meal, you eat 3 times a day, let's say, and you can get in 15, 20 minutes and get in 20,000 steps a day just by walking, you're going to see massive physical improvement in your health, cognitive function as well, because you're outside, you're getting that vitamin D. So just naturally you're disconnected from, you know, the indoors and TV and your devices. There's just so many benefits to getting outside, and people don't even do that.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up because in my studies in natural health, that's one of the things that they talk about is like the number one way to be healthy is actually walking, and it's more of like a brisk walk to where you get your heart rate up, and it's it's actually more beneficial than running, which is interesting because they got like all type of like they got hella studies on just like walking and the benefits of walking. And one of the things I used to do, and I stopped it for a minute, but I'm actually going to get back to it, is I would do like a mile walk. So I will walk like a mile a day. And it would just be like I could do like an audiobook walk or, you know what I mean, anything like that. I would just take my time, get out the house, go do something, walk around. And then as soon as I hit like 0.5 miles, I would turn back around for my destination. Sometimes if I felt, you know, sometimes you feel froggy and you want to do a little bit more, you know what I mean? But I think that if a person can set up to the point where they do a minimum of a mile walk a day, that would create tremendous benefits. Because if you think about it, if you do that times 30 days, that's 30 miles.
That's a big deal.
You know what I mean? Like, and then if you think about that, like, you know, if you do 30 miles over the course of what, I would say what, 12 months?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but let's see.
Yeah. 130 times what, 360?
Yep.
360 miles a year.
Yep.
Hello.
So at the end of the day, you do 360 miles. Your health is bound. Like I can't see how your health would not change just by walking alone. And so now if you add that to let's say if you got an exercise regimen,
right?
If you add that along with the exercise regimen, you're just setting yourself up for success, because it's like your body's moving. And so many things that happen when you walk, like your bowels, get ready to move, and blood starts flowing, and it keeps you. It doesn't allow you to be sedentary.
Yeah. Yeah, it increases circulation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and circulation, again, people take that stuff for granted, but the circulation of your blood and your body, just because you're moving your legs, all these nerves and all these blood vessels and all your muscles are activated, and everything is powered by what? Your brain, your supercomputer, right? So when you're walking around, it's going to help cognitive function. Like your brain is going to now focus a little bit more on either burning calories, or it's telling your body, all right, we need to move, we need to get up, let's get into high gear, versus eating a meal, sitting on the couch. Now your body's like, oh, we're chilling. Okay, great. So our body doesn't have to work. So now all that food and all that bullshit you ate, because you probably ate some carbs and some bad fats and all that stuff. Now everything is like, okay, Tony, I guess we're going to lay down now. So let me go ahead and take all the stuff you ate. I'm going to store that as fat. And then now you're screwed, right? Because you're like, when have you ever ate a meal, sat down on the couch, watched TV, and then got up afterwards and did some exercise? Never. Once you sit on that couch, man, your night is over.
It's a wrap. Yeah, it's a wrap.
You need to make sure you're getting out and about. And I always tell myself, like, you're going to have a better sleep. I've really been doing this a lot lately, where you have a much better sleep when you go. If you can create your body a routine to where it's 0 to 100, meaning you want to go until the tank is empty every day. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to train like fucking Brock Lesnar or Joe Rogan or anything like that. But, you don't have to throw kettlebells. But when you need to wake up in the morning every day, your body's ready to go. And if you can push it almost to the brink, and the limits on a daily basis, you're going to sleep better at night. Your body's going to work harder and recharge itself. So naturally, you're going to raise your metabolism on a more permanent level. And if you can get in that routine and do that every single day, you're going to see so many great benefits.
And just for the listeners to even break it down like this, right, Tom? Like, you could even do medium.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, if you think about like a level of a tank, if you do medium for a period of time, because some people are coming from low.
That's
right.
right.
And when they're coming from low, it's hard to think about the extreme from low to high.
Sure.
So even if you do the medium, you know what I mean? Like, and I think I say it like this, right? There's always different type of rituals that you can put in place to make sure that you do things. Like for me, like my minimum is I have to do 10 pull-ups and 20 push-ups. That's my minimum strength training routine that I do every day.
Oh, every day you're doing okay.
Every day. Well, because I'm thinking about just repetition.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking about that amount over periods of time. You know what I mean? Like, and you're conditioning your muscles, you're conditioning your body. It's not too much to the point where you overtraining, but it's just a minimum.
Yeah. And, not even to dumb it down even more, because that's super dumb. Like anybody could do that.
Right.
You know what I've been doing a lot, because, after my lung surgery, I couldn't really do a whole lot. Right. So, I've started every single morning. I wake up, and if you have a dog or a pet, it's even better, because now every single morning I get up 7:00, I feed him. 7:15, he's done. 7:30, I'm walking him at least a mile and a half, 2 miles. I'll walk. Sometimes I'll jog, but with my lungs, I can't really jog that much. But I'll walk a mile and a half. I come back, he's toast for the day. So now I can work and be productive. Because a lot of people out there, if you have animals and you're worried about, what you got to do to kind of calm them down, that's a routine. Is just go out and walk with that dog every single day. And if you don't have a dog, instead of that, why don't you just try bear crawling? I love bear crawling because, I'm 37 and I just like being a kid. So I'll wake up in the morning before we had Oliver, our dog. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll get out of bed. I'll do my meditation, my kind of breathing. I don't touch the phone yet. And I just I do more of like what Tony Robbins does. I do my priming and my thankfuls. So like what I'm thankful for the day and all that. And that's just to yourself. You don't necessarily have to do it out loud if you don't want.
Yeah.
Then you get up before you have breakfast, coffee, anything like that. Then you just bear crawl around the house.
Yeah.
I like to set a timer on, if you have an Apple Watch or an Alexa, I like to set a timer for 5 minutes. And you don't have to go the whole 5 minutes, but, do a minute bear crawling. You're going to feel it after a minute. Take a little breather.
Yep.
Maybe do a couple other minutes, but do it for 5 minutes. Man, you won't even need coffee. Your blood's going to be cranking. And then
and your energy is going to be high.
That's right. And then now you can have a productive day. So even if you only did that and you didn't even do weights, but if you just walked and did some bear crawling or, like you said, push-ups and pull-ups, man, that type of core movement, that's going to have some huge benefits for sure. And it's going to make you stronger, obviously.
Right. And I think that's what it is. It's just like I woke up one morning and I was thinking about rituals. And you know how like some people have different rituals. Like some people have a ritual of getting up and smoking a cigarette every morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, or getting a cup of coffee. So that's somebody's ritual. Somebody's ritual is a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And they'll do it because they put it in their life.
Yeah.
And they'll do it consistently.
Routines.
And right, it's a routine. So that's why I was thinking like, man, life is all about rituals and routines. And what is your ritual that you have that enriches your life? So that's what I started thinking about. I started thinking about like, how can I establish positive rituals? You know what I mean? Like that get me to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that are something that I can't like not do. You know what I mean? So like I said this one time before, I was like, man, I think the recommendation from like the I don't know who it is. It may be the CDC would be like 30 minutes of exercise per day. 3 times a week.
Yep.
Something like that. And so that's like an hour or 30 minutes of exercise, right? But let's take it a step further. Let's just say if you do 45 minutes to an hour each day, and then you actually do 10 minutes of high intensity interval training, which could be jumping jacks, it could be walking up some stairs, it could be jump rope, whatever it is, just 10 minutes. That equals to about,
Get the heart rate going. Yep.
Exactly. So that would, let's just say you did it like this, right? On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you did your 45 minutes to an hour of strength training. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you did your 10 minutes of high intensity interval training. That would equal 6 days a week of activity, right? And then at that point in time, you will probably be in the best shape of your life if you did just that consistently for a whole year. Like, get a calculator for me real quick, Tony. I got some fitness math we're about to do real quick.
Cool, man. Talk to me, Goose.
Okay, right. So it's 100 and how many hours is it in a week? 162.
What is that? 24 times 7. So
168.
168.
Okay, cool. So it's 168 hours in a week, right? Times that times 4.
Okay.
Because that's usually how many weeks are in a month, and then times that times 12.
Beautiful. So
and how many hours you got?
8,064.
Okay, you got 8,000. So that's the total amount of hours that you have inside of in a year.
In a year, yeah.
Okay, right. So now do this math real quick. So now we say if it's the average amount of time that you need to be in the best shape of your life is, let's just say 3.5 hours, correct?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so give me 3 times 4, 3.5 times 4, and then times 12.
3.5 times 4 times 12. 168.
Okay, so basically if we do the calculation, it only takes you 1 week of your total time in a year to be in the best shape of your life.
That's crazy.
Okay, right. Now, so look, I'm about to take it a step further. So now tell me, what is the percentage of 168 to...
I'm already ahead of you. Yeah, I already did that because I figured this is where that's...
Please tell me that number. Please tell me that number.
2.1%.
So is zero is
it's
how many zeros in front of...
It's 0.0021. Hold on. Let me double check.
Okay.
8,000 will actually be 168 divided by 8,000. I think it was like 8,024, right?
Yep.
So it was, I just rounded down to 8,000, but
Okay,
0.021.
So it's 0.021%
Mm,
of your total time in a year to be in the best shape of your life.
crazy.
So anybody that would tell me, I'm gonna look into the camera real quick. You pull your ears close. If
Gotcha.
you tell me that you don't got time, you have to let me know what you're doing with the other portion of your time, because everybody has 0.021% of their time to be in the best shape of their life.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
So
Yeah.
it's like when we break it down, it's like, and it's so small, but we make it so big. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like if you think about, that's not even like if we did 0.021, that's not even $1.
Yeah. Well, technically,
It's
I mean,
like,
you gotta roll over the decimals, so it'd be 2%, 2.1.
right.
Yeah. But still, 2% of your time is, even if it was 10%.
I,
It's 2% is nothing. And what's even more crazy, and I love how you did that experiment, because that, hopefully that'll put in perspective for some people. But 2% of your time, if you want to know how little 2% of your time is, you should take a look at your phone and see how much percentage of the day that you spend on social media and TikTok. Look at that percentage, because I guarantee that percentage is probably closer to 20, 30, 40%.
Yep.
And if you're spending 4 or 5 hours a day, because you got to remember, like you said, 24 hours in a day, but you're not awake 24 hours.
No, you're asleep.
Yeah, let's say if you're lucky enough to get, 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Well, let's do that breakdown real quick.
Yeah.
Let's break that down. So now you got 168 hours in a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll just say the average. We're going to do a subtraction. So we'll say the average a person sleeps is 8 hours a day, right?
Okay.
So we can minus 42, right?
Yep. So 42
Um,
minus 168 is 126.
yeah.
So 126
Okay.
hours a week.
Right. So now we got 126 hours. So let's just say if you are working 8 hours a day, we can minus another 42, right?
Right.
Let's just put it on the higher scale. Let's just say you work 50 hours a week. So now take away 50 from, what was it, 126?
Yeah. So 50 plus 42 minus 168. So 76 hours a week.
Okay. So now you
what you're
still
awake
got 76. Right. You still got 76 hours, and that's minus your sleep, minus your work. Now we could just say it takes about, how many hours would you say we spend on eating? Maybe like 1 or 2 hours a week.
Yeah, maybe.
About,
I mean,
maybe
15.
let's just be generous.
Yeah.
Let's just say you spend 5 hours a week eating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Most people don't spend a whole hour eating. It's probably like 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
So let's just be generous. So we'll subtract 5 hours from that, right?
Right.
And then what else do people's times go to? Like, how many? What's my total so far?
Oh, I closed out of that. Sorry.
Okay. So basically, we could
were
say
at
you're at
76.
about.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
realistically, if you break it down per day, you're about 8 hours a day is what you're down to, like
Right.
left, with everything left.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot, but again, what are you doing for those 8 hours? A couple hours are like Netflixing, playing on your phone, all that. There is plenty of time. And I know a lot of people are listening to this and they're like, whoa, too many numbers. All I know is when I get off work, I'm exhausted and I'm tired. Yes. But you're still doing things.
Yeah.
And what you're doing on a daily basis is going to dictate how you're going to spend the rest of your life and how long you're going to spend your life. It's fun to have the YOLO attitude and, hey, I want to go out. I want to live every moment as if I don't want to spend it working out. But what if someone told you, and we know this for a fact, let's just say someone from the future came and they're like, all right, man, I'm from the future. I know if you work out an hour a day, you're going to gain an extra 10 years at the end of your life. Would you do it?
Yep.
You probably would. Well, that's what working out does. That's what being healthy does. Is it literally extends your life? But for us, it's hard to see, right? It's that unicorn of making $1 million. Like we all want to make $1 million, but we can't.
Yeah.
And we don't see it happening. Like we want it,
Yeah.
but we don't see it happening. Working out is one of those things to where you have to do it. You have to put in the work, and you're not going to see results for 20 years, 30 years.
Yep.
It's all about the longevity of it. It's if you're doing it for the gram, that's a different conversation. But if you're actually working out for longevity and you actually want to have a healthier life that's sustainable, I mean, obviously you don't want to, work out with weights all the time if you can't physically do it now. But like we're talking about these little things, walking and, doing calisthenics, doing some
These are all
core
doable
movements.
things.
Super doable. And you can do them at home. You don't even need a gym membership.
Yeah. Well, and then too, I think it just comes down to a simple thing. And I think that this taps into like there's a mindset that goes into it. It's just like, I see a lot of people that have like, the crash and burn mentality, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to suffer. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, the real suffering happens when you can't take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like it happens when you in the hospital. To me, that's the real suffering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the real suffering is when you in constant chronic pain because you can no longer manage the functions of your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the true suffering. And so I think that what we do is we just need to develop a different mindset around our health.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
a lot of that mindset is tainted not necessarily by the people that we surround ourselves with, because I think that's a big portion of it too. Like if you're surrounding yourself with people that like to party and like to drink and like to go out all the time, that's what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And also too, if you're surrounding yourself with temptations like, eating fast food and junk food and all that, there's a reason why I don't follow a bunch of hot girls anymore on Instagram. It's because I'm married now.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the temptation. Would I ever cheat on my wife? Absolutely not. But I'm gonna better my chances of not cheating on her by not having that temptation on my face.
Your surroundings. Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand that. That's the same with a lot of things like eating and working out. Is you got to surround yourself with the lack of temptation to do the things that you don't want to do. And is that stuff fun? Of course, I get it. But you're not going to be able to. Here's what's funny about this is. What's ironic is people live that YOLO mentality of let me party and let me do whatever I want now and treat my body like an amusement park. You're going to do that. Realistically, you can only do that for maybe 20, 30 years. You're going to invest time, energy into that. And then when you're 50 and 60, you actually physically won't have the energy to work out.
Because you've wasted all of your nerve energy.
Exactly. So now you're stuck in your 60s, 70s, 80s, which could be the prime time of your life. Imagine being retired and being able to go out on hikes and explore the world and go to Italy and go to Europe and go to the Grand Canyon and do all that because you have the energy to because of what you've done the last 20, 30 years. And of course, financially, you've been smart to save money and do what you got to do there and planning for the future. And that's the whole idea is you gotta think about long term, like where you want to be. Like fuck partying every single day in my 20s and 30s. I want to be like living a long, healthy, fun life until I'm 90. And there is only one solution to that. Treat your body right. Treat your body right the whole time.
Yeah, and, you have a certain amount of nerve energy that once it's exhausted, it's a wrap. So it's like it's a lot of things that exhaust our nerve energy. So we do have to treat our bodies like our body does so much stuff to keep us alive.
Yeah, man. Can you talk more about nerve? Because nerve energy it's very fascinating.
Yeah. So basically, it's like we have a certain amount of energy that's needed to make our bodies run normally, right? And when you get sick, your nerve energy gets exhausted. So that's why some people when they get sick, they can't do much. Like they don't have it. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure you probably experienced it when you after you came out of surgery.
Oh yeah,
you couldn't do much. You like to do something. It took so much energy to do it because your reserves were depleted. And then the way you build up your reserves was through resting, letting your body rest, not to have to do everything. More than likely, your eyes weren't open a lot. You were asleep. you know what I'm saying, you slept probably a little more. You had to recover to build up those reserves, right?
Yeah.
And so now when those reserves get built up, that's when you start to get your powers back. You can start walking again. You can start moving around more. You can start, you know what I'm saying? And you're still in that process of healing to where you get, you know, like you're getting your upper level functions, which is like your running, your jogging, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. All of those things require nerve energy. And the problem is that we do a lot of things that exhaust our nerve energy on a daily basis. Like, for example, drinking coffee is one of the things that exhausts our nerve energy. Alcohol, cigarettes, smoking anything, all of that stuff depletes nerve energy,
Mm,
right? And so once your nerve energy is exhausted below a point where it can't accept the charge no more, that's usually when death occurs.
that's right.
You know what I mean? So some people have been exhausting their nerve energy for so long that the body is just like, man, fuck this shit. I'm up
I'm
out of
out.
here. Yeah, like, hey,
That's true. Yeah, I
like,
mean, listen, man, everything's got a shelf life. You know,
Yep.
it's one of my favorite things I talk about is, you know, everything from your milk that you're drinking to your food to your body to your couch, your bed. Everything is going to expire soon, including yourself, including your body.
Yep.
And you know, the faster you can comprehend that, and I think there's a lot of us out there that just can't wrap our brains around it. The same people that, like me, I'm fascinated with space and you know, the planet, and I know you are as well. And I could talk about that all day, but it's hard for people to comprehend that we are on a rock that is rotating so fast that it's creating a curve in the water. Like, people don't know. Neil deGrasse Tyson said something profound a few years ago that has really stuck with me, where you think the tide, because of the moon, the tide is going in and out. So like, you're picturing right now, if you're listening to this, you're picturing an earth, and then the water's going in and out depending on how, but depending on what time of day it is. But really what's happening is the earth is rotating, and all the continents and all the countries are just sitting here like this. And because of Earth's gravity and the way that we're moving, the water's actually swooshing around the continents. So
Okay.
it's almost like the continents are stuck in this ball, and we're doing this. So we're like rotating. So it's not the water that's moving, but when you look at the ocean, you're thinking the water's going back and forth. But no, man, we're moving. The water's staying still. We're just making it wave.
Right.
It's gnarly, man, when you think about that stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it's hard to comprehend these things where you're like, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to take care of my life. But you don't understand that it is such a gift to be on this planet, man, and the odds of us being on this earth and what's going to happen the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, for us to take every day for granted and not understand that everything you put in your body, everything you do to your body is literally deciding how long you live.
Yeah.
It's, you know, people can't, it's scary, right? It's scary to think about that stuff. It's scary to think we do have a shelf life and we do have an expiration date, but we do. And the faster you can wrap your head around that, and the faster you can soak it in and appreciate it, I think the faster that you can actually, you know, live a long, healthier life to appreciate that.
I think for me too, when I think about it, I just think of like quality of life. Like, it's my duty and it's my responsibility to take care of myself. So the way even though I know we're gonna die, the way I want to die is I want to die just in my sleep. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to die of any sickness, any illness. Like, you know, when my clock stopped ticking, I just want to go out like that. I don't want to go out in pain. I don't want to go out in nobody's hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, just peaceful.
I just want to go peaceful. It's just like, I don't want to be in any predicament that I don't have to be in. And as long as it's in my control, it's my responsibility. Like, you know, even when you think about like relationships, like I try to choose my mates based off of like their health. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, am I gonna have to take care of you in 30 years? Only because, like, now, don't get me wrong, if something happens like a freak accident, I'm down with that.
Of course.
But
Different.
if it's something that's preventable, that you could have prevented just by changing something up and you chose not to do it, that's not fair.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
right.
fair to your partner. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a quote that says, "I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me."
Ooh, I love that.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
and so it's
that's
like
deep.
I think that that's where we have to be at that point, because once you start taking care of yourself, you consider everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, in that same token of just putting yourself first and taking yourself, I know some people like, don't take yourself so serious. Fuck that. Take yourself serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
are you going to take yourself as a joke?
Right.
Because we only get, in this life, we only get one time to do it right. We don't have no extra men. We can't go eat the mushroom.
Mm.
um it's not Double Dragon where we can go crack the box and get the fruit and have more life. Well, you can't do that, but still,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we
Yeah.
can't have a do-over. You only
Right.
get one time to do it right. And
Yeah.
so,
And that's so true what you said too, when especially comes to your spouse and the person you pick. And there's so many residual benefits of not just that in your relationship, but like if you're with somebody that takes care of themselves financially, spiritually,
mhm,
physically,
mhm,
mentally, and if they could take care of themselves and you're taking care of yourself and you're
yeah,
surrounded with people that take care of themselves, and that's contagious. So
yeah,
now everyone else is going to be looking at, oh, Tony, Gary,
yeah,
Bobby, all these guys are doing all the positive things. And
yeah,
that's contagious, and that's going to trickle down, and it might take a couple of years, but that's going to trickle down and just make our population that much better.
yeah,
But when you have all these negative things that we're focusing on, and I hate to bring this up, but there's just so much stuff around like not fat shaming now. You're
mhm,
starting to see it ramp up hardcore with celebrities and all that stuff to where
yeah,
don't fat shame, and it's almost like obesity is being I don't want to say pranced around in the
mhm,
celebrity world, but kind of is. Like in the woke culture, it's becoming
mhm,
one of these things to where it's okay to be who you are.
mhm,
Well, here's what I'm going to say about this on the record. It's not
mhm,
always okay to be who you are,
mhm,
you know? And
yeah,
I don't mean that in the way of like change who you are. I mean, if you're confident that that's who you want to be and you want to be overweight and you want to not take care of yourself, that's okay.
mhm,
Do you,
mhm,
no worries. Where I have a problem is when it gets politicized and it gets blown up like it's some big achievement.
mhm,
Because what you're
mhm,
telling me is you're telling me as the human population, it's okay to give up. It's
yeah,
okay to be lazy.
yeah,
And if my family, I have a couple family members that are overweight, and if they
mhm,
did what the woke culture wants them to do, which is just be who they are, not lose weight,
mhm,
do whatever they're going to get type 2 diabetes.
yeah,
They're going to lose a
and then
couple legs.
more likely be in the hospital.
Yeah. And then eventually, not only that, but now when another pandemic happens, what people don't understand is the pandemic itself affected primarily people that were obese.
Mhm,
70% of the US population are currently
is
overweight.
obese. Yeah,
That means that 70% of the US population is at higher risk of getting not just COVID, but any other respiratory illness
everything.
that comes
Right.
up. And that right
Mhm,
there should terrify you, because
mhm,
I don't want 70% of the population to be on a cover of a magazine that promotes obesity. I don't want
right.
that shit. I don't need that right now. And
Mhm,
what's even more crazy, and I want to get into this before we run out of time, but
mhm.
if you Google beach photo 1950,
Oh yeah.
and then you Google beach photo 2022, there is a massive difference.
Mhm.
And
So go ahead.
sorry, last thing. And then parallel to that, if you look at the amount of chronic illness, diseases, and everything that affected the U.S. population in the 1950s versus what we're dealing with now, it is mind-boggling. Do your own research
Mhm.
on this. Don't take my word for it. It
Yeah.
is mind-boggling the amount of chronic illness and disease that we have had come up in the last 70 years that didn't
Mhm.
exist. And do we
Mhm.
think it's because of people, tourists coming in? No, man. It's not
Mm-mm.
because of that. It's because of the food we're intaking and the way we're treating our
Yep.
body. It was way
Yep.
better back in the day in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And somewhere along the lines, probably when fast food really started ramping up in the U.S., it started being cheaper to eat fast food. So, of course, naturally, people are doing that. And a lot of this is the government and subsidies, and it's very complicated stuff, and I get it.
It's systems. It's systems for sure.
It's definitely the systems. But you can easily be stronger than the system because you don't need food as much as you think you need food.
Yeah.
And when you can put it away as it's kind of a want, right? And you just intake the stuff you need. So your fruits, your veggies, the leafies, and you could cut out all the bullshit, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself.
Yeah. So. I think in closing, I just think that some of the things that I think are really important is people repairing their relationship with food. You know what I mean? Like using food as energy and not necessarily as pleasure. Now, it's not saying that food cannot be pleasurable, but I think people look for the pleasure in food more than the nutrients in food. And I think that it causes them to, eat a certain way. And so it's like when you really think about a lot of the stuff, like it doesn't, like nutrition is behind several decades because it's a lot of stuff that they just haven't discovered. You know what I mean? Like, and when you break it down, it's really simple. It's just like eat when you're hungry. Don't attempt to eat a lot of packaged foods and processed foods because those things are science creations. You know what I mean? Like, eat as many whole foods as possible. Cook your food as minimally as possible. Have a green salad every day. Have a smoothie every day. Drink plenty of water or eat watery fruits and vegetables. You know what I mean? Like
your watermelons, your cucumbers, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Mangoes, watermelons, cucumbers, strawberries, berries. And then make sure that you have like positive relationships because I feel like the relationships that you have determine a whole lot of things in your life. And if you are in a circle of people that are doing unhealthy things, find a healthy friend. Yeah. It's just like a mentor. That's your health mentor. Your healthy friend is your health mentor.
Just
you know what
one.
I mean? Like, find somebody. Yeah, just one. Find somebody that from a health perspective that you would like to be like. You know what I mean? Like, find that one person because that one person is going to be the radical person that's going to be like, hey, nah, this is what you need to do because you need to. You know what I'm saying? Like I've helped about 4 people now that told me that they had to see the co, and I gave them just natural stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I feel much better the next day." And I was like, "You see?" I was like, the power of natural medicine, and this was all like food. I was like, "Hey, go to Jamba Juice." Yeah, I was like, "Go to Jamba Juice, get some wheatgrass, some orange juice, and two shots of wheatgrass, a 24-ounce orange juice, and 2 ginger shots." And put those inside of a cup and mix it together. Next day, oh, I feel so good. I'm like, yeah, I knew you would.
That's what
you know what I mean. And so, I just want to say that it doesn't have to be as hard, and you could do 2 things. You could be on the proactive side of change, or you could be on the reactive side of change. The proactive side will keep you out of the hospital, and the reactive side will keep you in the hospital.
Ooh. That's good, man. That's strong. And, the relationship with food, I think, is such a good way to end it because, to me in particular, and it only happened in the last 30, 40 years, but you're right, our relationship with food has changed. And if you think more about it from a taste bud standpoint, if it tastes good, it's probably not good for you. Yep. And that's hard to comprehend. Again, I get it. But you just have to remember if someone came from the future and said, hey, listen, if you eat healthy for X amount of years, you're going to live longer. Wouldn't you do it? And I think more often than not, a lot of people say, yes, I would do it. Well, there's so many studies and the science is out there that eating right and intaking your nutrients on a daily basis have massive benefits, not just cognitively, but physically, mentally, just everything. There's just so many great benefits. And, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, supplementation isn't horrible for you. The best way to intake food the best way to intake nutrients is through whole foods, like you were saying. And, if sometimes, like if you're in a Seattle or an Oregon where it's, maybe a little bit rainy, you have to intake more vitamin D than if maybe you're in Florida like I am, or California, one of these places where you can just go outside and intake massive amounts of vitamin D on a yearly basis. But, the one thing I want to mention was a good segue because I wanted to thank our sponsors over at Perfect Keto. So Perfect Keto, to me, even before they were sponsored the podcast, I've just been massive fans of theirs. And I don't know if you follow Perfect Keto, Gary.
No, I will.
Yeah, Perfect Keto is great because they have tons of supplementations like Super Greens, which is probably one of my favorites, which has 26 fruits and veggies in one little scoop. Things like spirulina and chia seeds and, things that maybe you won't have whole foods wise. It's always good to supplement that stuff. But there is so much thing as intaking too much, depending on where you are and depending on what your fitness goals are. So it's always important to talk to a professional or do your own research on this. But supplementation is huge. And for me, when it comes to protein and collagen and all the things that, I need to keep my my fitness on track, I use supplementation. I use Perfect Keto. And if you want a discount, get 20% off by using the code TheBerardo at perfectketo.com. And again, they have tons of great snacks and bars. And it's not just keto stuff. Me personally, I'm vegan. So I don't eat all their things because not everything they have is vegan, but they have a lot of great products. I even think I sent you those super fats, those little packets.
Yeah, you sent me the pack. Yeah.
So that's from Perfect Keto. So
Okay.
those are my go-to, bro. Like when it comes to nut butter, is I'll put that on peanut butter because again, I'm a massive nut butter guy, and
I'm gonna use one of those today on my raisin toast.
yes, sir. There you go. That's what I do typically too. And what's even more interesting is we talked about this before, where you get away from the pleasure aspect of food. If you can find those supplementations like these nut butters, like super fat, peanut butter, there's nothing like good old Jif. I get it, right? Jif and some fluff, some marshmallow fluff between bread. That's what I was raised off of as a kid. But again, if it tastes good for you, it's probably not good for you, right? So the cool thing is now you got these companies like Perfect Keto, and there's a lot of other great stuff out there where you can find those like good things that your taste buds love, but they actually have nutritional value. So instead of peanut butter, now you're getting macadamia butter or almond butter, and that's all available at perfectketo.com. So use the code TheBerardo if you want that. But again, I did toss those in to your box, but what do you think about the box in general, man, that meat cube?
The box is dope. It has a
right?
lot of good things. Yeah, I could definitely see the evolution of where it's gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
stoked about it, man.
I appreciated that the box. I'll probably do another story on it real quick too as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
man.
was dope.
No, I appreciate it. And that was the single box too. So, once you get a spouse that's worthy of Coach G,
Yeah,
we'll hook you up with a couples box.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use the what are those called again? The
that I gave you, the Frozip?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, those Frozips are cool. Here's a little trick though. You remember like back in the day those frozen icicle pops?
Yeah.
So you can make it with that. You fill it up with your favorite juice or liquid, throw it in the freezer, and then now you got like a healthy, frozen popsicle.
Look, I didn't even know.
That's dessert, bro. There you go.
Learn something new every day.
And again, these are things that if people just do the research, right? This is what we've been talking about is you can make like a fucking awesome, what's that? It's July 4th almost, right? Next month. So you remember that like Freedom Pop, the red, white, and blue Freedom Pop?
Yep.
So you can make that at home.
Yeah.
And it's not going to give you diabetes, which is always a plus.
So we don't need no more of that.
That's right. But all right, man, let's end it here where I'll leave your social media handles, obviously, when I edit this thing. But where can people find you? Where are you located? What do you got going on? Let the people know.
All right, y'all. So you can find me at www.plantbfitness.com. That's my website. You can find me on Instagram at plant, PLANT, the letter B, fitness. And you can also find me on LinkedIn if you're interested in doing anything with corporate wellness. It's just under my name, Gary Whitaker.
Nice. Well, Coach G, Gary Whitaker, thank you so much again for hopping on the episode, man. Always enjoy talking to you. We could probably talk for hours, so we'll have to make this a constant thing. But everyone give Coach G a round of applause, would you? See the roadcaster, bro. You got to get up on that game, son.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Oh, Oh, my bad, dog.
I got some sound effects.
All right, I bet. Damn, bro, yours are better. We need to talk about that. Speaking of which, how is the podcast going? Side note,
Man,
post anything yet? Or what?
I need to do better.
Okay.
I need to do better. That's
Sorry,
it.
dude.
Like it's more of like I just got back into the thing where I'm doing more editing. So I still got a couple of episodes that I need to edit and just put out. So
Tight.
yeah,
All right,
I'm waiting to do that.
We're looking forward to that. Again, plantbfitness.com.
Yep.
For all your Coach G needs. And again, man, thanks for coming on the show. We'll do this again. I'll text you in a little bit.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Peace.